So Kent is going to give us the scientific answer to how old the Earth is. I can't imagine what he's even going to try to say. So this is a 50-minute video. The first 16 and a half minutes, he gives the biblical answer, and it's nothing but just his interpretation of what the Bible says. Some parts of the Bible are metaphorical, but no, the creation account and the parts about how old the Earth is and whatever, all that stuff is uber literal, according to him. It's not really worth going over. There wouldn't be much to say. It's just all this circular reasoning. Oh, John says, in the beginning was the Word was with God, and then adding up genealogies and whatever else. So he thinks the Earth is young. Now, if that's true, we use the Ricky Gervais argument. If the Bible completely disappeared, we would be able to, or if all knowledge disappeared, we'd be able to rediscover scientific truths, but not religious truths. In a recent video I uploaded, I asked a person, let's say that the Bible doesn't exist. If the Earth really is 6,000 years old, then there must be objectively verifiable evidence of that. Could you tell me some of that evidence? And the idiot never came up with anything. Let's see what this idiot comes up with. Oh, if you see me looking down and doing stuff, my cat is here. Should we just do the whole thing like this? I mean, we could, right? Just do kitty cam. If I could get both of us in frame, I would, but I don't think I can.
So how old's the Earth? Let's look for a scientific answer. Public school textbooks claim 14 billion years old. Whoa.
No, that's about how old the universe is.
Current universe came into existence about 14 billion years ago.
Yep.
Through an explosion, the Big Bang.
No. Does it actually say explosion? Yeah, oh man. I don't know what that source is, but that's just horribly worded.
From an infinitely dense point.
Also horribly worded. Maybe appropriate for like young kids, but just terrible.
Infinitely dense point would be pretty tiny. And that contained everything in the universe. Everything. 13.77.
No. Yeah, so that's why this is terrible. To say that the universe used to actually be smaller than an atom is absolutely completely incorrect, because the universe may be infinite. Everything we look at, all the data we have about the shape of the universe says that it has flat curvature, which would mean it just goes on forever. I had Blitz on as a guest yesterday on TikTok, and he was explaining this in excellent terms that I'm not able to repeat. Sorry.
2 billion years ago.
But we can say that like the observable universe used to be compressed. It may be accurate to say the observable universe was compressed into an incredibly small space, because if space is expanding, then yes, you can actually say the stuff we see was closer together in a way, but the universe has always been infinite.
The universe is the age of the universe. Uncertainty of 59 million years. I see, okay.
That gives us an error of less than 0.5%. So he's just very sneakily trying to be like, oh, 58 million year error, huh? So precise, isn't it? Yeah.
What is the universe? 13.8 billion years ago. We'll discuss all that pretty soon. Now, if you drew a line from Japan to Boston.
Oh, he's going to make a timeline.
That's a long ways. I did the math on this. I think I got it right. I was in kind of a hurry. But from Japan
Doubtful.
Over here, all the way over to Boston. That'd be a long line, right? It's about 8,700 miles, just my first guess without measuring it precisely, okay? Let's let each mile represent 1.5 million years. Every mile is 1.5 million years. This line would be 13.8 billion years from Japan to Boston.
Yep.
That's how long the line would be.
Yep.
That's the supposed age of the Earth.
Long line mean impossible.
Each foot at that scale would be 285 years. Every time you move a foot, that's 285 years. So it takes about 24 years to go 1 inch.
Oh, jeez.
Now, from Salem, Oregon, across the country to Boston, it's about 3,000 miles. So then they say that's when the Earth began as a hot ball of rock, 4.6 billion years ago, right there.
Yep.
Really. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yep,
Yes, really.
3,000 miles. Each mile is an inch. Each mile is 1.5 million years. Each foot, 285 years. 24 years to go an inch. That's a long walk. Okay. 3,000 miles across America at that
South
scale.
Dakota
It's
mentioned.
going to take you 285 years per foot. It'll take
I'm from
572
South
million
Dakota, if you
years
guys don't know
just
that.
to walk across South Dakota.
He apparently used to live and teach for like 10, 12 years or something like that in this really, I don't even remember what it was called, but this really tiny little town near Rapid City, South Dakota. I think that was like in the 90s or something. Oh man, speaking of, yeah, oh, you guys got to see this. So Kent Hovind goes by Dr. Hovind. He has a PhD that he got from Patriot Bible University, which is in Colorado. Yeah, way down in this tiny town that I've never heard of. Patriot Bible University. You guys want to see what Patriot Bible University looks like? That's not a campus, is it? This is I'm not joking. This is Patriot Bible University. Let's take a look see. Yeah. That's Patriot Bible University. And they have a sign out front, so you know I'm not making this up. Patriot Bible University. It's hilarious that Kent is very clearly a con artist. I mean, he believes in a lot of the bullshit that he says, but I mean, he got conned. Like, does he actually think that his PhD means anything? This is just a crappy little building full of horrible people. What they're doing is basically criminal. That just, you pay them some money, you hand them a thesis or whatever, and they give you a PhD. It's so unbelievably dumb. His thesis paper's like 100 pages long. I'm thinking about going through the entire thing. I actually have it right here. I'm considering going through the entire thing in a series of videos. So if you guys think that would be entertaining, let me know.
Okay. Once we finally get to Boston, we come to a street in Boston where the line ends.
Is he? Sorry, guys. This is so stupid.
Lying. Okay. Lines
Yep,
are
I don't
very,
like the size
very
of the
different.
timeline.
Somebody's lying. Okay. So about 8,700 miles from Japan to Boston. 13.8 billion years is, if the average person lives 72, 73 years.
So yeah, because line long, idea false. This is not scientific evidence. Remember, what he's doing here is giving scientific evidence of the age of the Earth.
Each inch is 24 years. Average person would live 3 inches. From Japan to Boston would be 184 million lifetimes. Now, the human brain cannot comprehend those big numbers.
That's true. The human brain cannot comprehend the actions of an all-powerful God either. Like literally, because the God is also just supernatural. I mean, the idea if 1 year can happen, then 10 years can happen, then 1,000 years can happen. If 1,000 years can happen, 1,000,000 years can happen. They eventually will happen, even if you don't believe that they have happened yet. And billions and even trillions of years will eventually pass by. None of that is, like, it's impossible to comprehend, but it's not impossible to believe, actually. But I would say that a God that has powers that are absolutely indescribable in every sense, that is actually what he's talking about here. Something that cannot be comprehended and can only be believed through brainwashing. That's so ironic.
Evolution believers rely on this simple fact that people can't. Once you say billions of years, the brain kind of shuts off. Oh, okay. Yeah. They rely on this to brainwash.
But a God that created an entire universe literally in one day and then shaped that universe gradually, well, just the Earth, gradually over the next 5 days. Oh, okay. The irony.
Push people into accepting this as a fact. Earth is thought to have formed 4.6 billion years ago.
Yep.
It began as a hot ball of rock.
Yep. Asteroids and stuff colliding together. Yep, that would have melted the Earth. And we've measured these radioactive isotopes.
And then in the oceans, the first life appeared. If kids hear that for 12 to 16 years of public school, they're going to start to believe it. They get brainwashed. I'll show you.
No, it's just science, Kent. We tell them stuff about atoms and subatomic particles and energy and waves. It's not brainwashing. You're just saying that because you think it's false, because you think the actual brainwashing is the truth.
How easy it is to get brainwashed. I love this story. Okay? Now be careful. Watch this. I'm going to try to brainwash all of you. Try to resist. You ready? The detective entered the apartment or the room.
No, I don't care. This isn't scientific evidence
crazy about
of anything.
The man waiting for him at home. Okay? On its way, turning.
Literally
I will
don't care.
turn
Sorry,
left
guys.
to Matt, who just got brainwashed. Would anybody like to just take a wild guess what the first sentence in the book says? Millions of years ago.
Oh, he's got an audience.
And without
That's
even
tragic.
knowing it, the kid has just got brainwashed, and he's never going to figure it out.
No,
This
we
is
just
brainwashing.
know for a fact that that's how long ago it was.
Dinosaurs, millions of years ago.
Yep.
Brainwashing starts before they can even read. Millions of years ago,
Again, the
dinosaurs
irony.
roamed the earth. Millions of years ago, millions of years ago.
Ooh, those are horribly drawn dinosaurs. That is such an outdated iguanodon. That's insane. It's got the kangaroo posture. The thumb spike just looks so dumb. That stegosaurus depiction is terrible. The sauropod here, this is back when people thought, well, the sauropods were too big to have walked on land. So in a lot of early depictions, they draw them like either in water or in swampy areas. But what we found out was the pressure would have made it almost impossible for them to breathe. So they couldn't have lived under the water. And then, I don't know, some like more recent modeling has shown that no, they would have been able to walk just fine. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that we know that dinosaurs had extensive air sacs in their bones. Even the sauropods, it's actually really cool. Let me show you. I guess the pictures don't really do it very well for you, but we know that they had extensive air sacs in their necks. You can see it in the bone structure. I guess you'd kind of have to have a 3D look at it though, so this doesn't do it for you, so sorry.
Dinosaurs roamed the earth. Even Dr. Seuss. This was not hundreds of years, not thousands of years, but millions of years, long before you were born.
Yep.
Kids have already been brainwashed into believing the earth is billions of years
Where's
old
the scientific
before
evidence?
they can read. They've already been brainwashed into believing dinosaurs lived millions of years ago before they can read. Christians have failed
So the kids' books, I guess they're
in their job to teach the truth. We're going to work on that with this series right here. Okay.
No, you're not.
So let's examine this
How many views does this
13.8
have?
billion year claim that the universe and that the earth is 4.6 billion years old. Let's look at real scientific evidence.
Cool.
If we can show from science that the universe is not billions of years old, the entire evolution.
Kent, what did you Google to get that picture? You know, these fire and brimstone. Kent has publicly said that homosexuals should be killed by the state. He thinks that the United States government should kill homosexuals and people that do witchcraft. Every accusation is a confession. I can't believe how often that rings true.
Evolution religion collapses. Time is the pacifier. Time can turn a frog to a prince. Yep.
Yes, and your belief requires you to believe in magic, something only a child would believe in. Great.
Let's ask the evolution believers, since you don't want to believe in the beginning God created the heaven and the earth, would you please tell us, how did the universe get here?
It's actually perfectly fine, the idea that God created the universe, but it can be billions of years old. Those things can both be true.
Where'd we
How did the universe get here? I guess so I don't know, but I don't need to know that. I don't need to know what the murderer had for breakfast to know if they committed a crime. Even though all of the evidence is like, we will not be able to observe the event take place. They so commonly use that kind of art. You can't observe billions of years. You can't observe species changing. We can observe the evidence, actually. And with the universe, we literally do observe the past when we look out. So this is a complete red herring.
come from? Where did the universe come from? Got an
Irrelevant.
eyelash in my eye here. Hang on a second. There.
Hopefully it's fatal.
Well, they start off by saying it came from the Big Bang. Really, cosmic evolution. Let's talk about that. Science history, images. The Big Bang. The universe was a hot soup of molecules
Yep.
and atoms. What is the Big Bang theory? Physics.org. Big Bang, a cone-shaped object with an actual arrow drawn below. Wow, can you believe that? They drew an arrow. Wow. With
Yeah.
explosion on the left.
So
It all started with a
condescending.
bang. But when? Inflationary beginning, Big Bang. Okay.
I get the feeling that he didn't put this slideshow together because he's literally just showing all the slides and being like, okay, well, in order to get from an amoeba to a human, you have to have billions of years and a big bang. And that's just pure imagination. The atheist, the evolutionist has to believe in billions of years or the whole thing falls apart. It's a religion and it should not be taught in school. My tax dollars will not be going to teach this religion in school. Says the guy that doesn't pay taxes.
Big Bang. Let's see. 10 to the minus 43rd seconds.
Oh no! First we had big numbers, now we have small numbers. Where's the scientific evidence?
That's quick.
That none of this
Zero
happened?
zero 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 43 seconds.
Yeah.
Just as biological evolution is the heart of modern biology, cosmic evolution is the heart of modern cosmology. For instructors to be confident in teaching science, it's helpful for them to appreciate the current understanding of the composition and development of the universe. It's taken place in our understanding for the last 2 decades. Biological evolution requires the products of cosmic evolution. So you can't have animals start evolving, like Charlie Darwin said, until you first get the universe to be here. So this Big Bang is the
Yeah, no shit. If the universe doesn't exist, other things won't happen.
first stumbling block they got to overcome. Cosmic evolution is part of the evolution theory.
So, is he... I'm sorry, I thought this entire thing was evidence that the Earth is old, not evidence that evolution happens. Right? I'm not crazy. Scientific answer to... Yeah, how old the Earth is. So, the age of the Earth has very little bearing on the truth of evolution because even an idiot like Kent agrees that evolution occurs. He just thinks that it hasn't been going on for all that long, and there are certain things that it can't do, like produce new genuses, families, whatever. So that has nothing to do with whether or not Big Bang cosmology is true, and vice versa. The Big Bang has nothing to do with evolution being true.
Has to be. Because without that, there's nothing to evolve. Atheists get mad at me when I say there's 6 different meanings to the word evolution, and they say cosmic evolution is not part of it. Yes, it is.
No, it literally is not.
And you know it is. And
No, because God could have created the whole earth miraculously a few thousand years ago, a few billion years ago, and then that would mean that none of the cosmic evolution stuff has anything to say. Like, if an earth exists and life exists on it, and the earth was just magically created, then evolution is still true, and there is no cosmic evolution.
and you're a coward and can't face it.
And you're a dumbass and a criminal.
It's
And a wife beater. Well, I mean, that's a crime, so.
true. It's part of this theory, okay?
It's not part of the theory.
Elements to which life is composed were formed in the cores of stars.
Yep.
And
we know
2
that.
areas of science are thus crucially and even inspiringly connected.
This has nothing to do with how old anything is.
Evolution, ascent with change of nature's many varied systems, has become a powerful unifying concept throughout all the sciences. Its broadest sense, cosmic evolution, includes the subject of big history, comprises a holistic explanation,
Nope,
consistent,
don't care.
objective, comprehensive worldview. You got to have a big bang. Something has to start it all. So what about this big bang? Why cosmic evolution matters. Religious humanists regard the universe as self-existing and not created. It began as a bang. Most people today know it's dumb to worship a dot of nothing that exploded into an ordered universe and life.
So, anybody who has even like a tiny bit of education would know that what you just said is an extremely uncharitable, dumb straw man of what a Big Bang model actually tells us.
But that's what they teach. Universe came 14 billion years ago with a big bang. 13.7 billion years ago, big bang.
That's not, none of these things is what you said, Kent.
It's also dumb to worship time, space, matter, and energy as the gods that created this universe. We're going to discuss this number soon. This is pure baloney, 13.8 billion. Remember, that's from Japan to Boston, whereas halfway
Then
across
get
the
to the
street
number,
is from the
Kent.
creation to today. So here we go. Big Bang. What was before the Big Bang?
I'm going to find where he tries to get to the numbers because this is excruciating. Okay, I didn't have to go very far until he said something really stupid. He's still itching that eye. Maybe it is fatal.
These particles
Fingers
are going to be
crossed.
really far apart. Why did they show the particles from the Big Bang going in one direction on these pictures and forming galaxies and then people? If it really was a Big Bang, it wouldn't just go one direction, guys. It would go all directions.
How do you draw that, Kent? It's meant to show like an arrow of time and the cosmic evolution. It's saying these are the order of events that take place.
They do this all the time to deceive people. Look at this. Everything went one way. The Big Bang story does not explain what banged.
Actually, real quick, let me find
Go
that
all
again.
directions.
So like that one, this one's a little bit better because it's a little more 3D. The y-axis is time. But this is kind of weird because it's like a 3D graph. That y-axis is time, and then the x, and I guess we would call that z-axis, but I'm not 100% sure. You can see that looks like a condom or whatever. The trumpet of that growing, that's the what? I didn't even know. I didn't know that OBS did this. What else will it do? Whatever. Anyways, that growing cone, that is the 3D space growing. So it actually does show what you're saying it doesn't show. That was so... and now it won't do it. Okay.
They do this all the time to deceive people. Look at this.
Wait a minute. If I do... No, okay.
Everything went one way. The Big Bang story does not explain what banged. Where did matter come from? It banged into what? Where did space come from?
It didn't come from anywhere. It's eternal.
Big Bang story does not explain where time came from.
It doesn't need to.
Where did the energy come from? What was before the bang?
It doesn't need to.
Does not explain where the laws of physics and nature come.
Kent, you haven't dealt with that the universe is expanding and how we look at the how far away things are in light years and determine the age. He's not dealing with scientific evidence for the age of the Earth or universe at all.
Come from? Where'd the law of gravity come from?
Irrelevant.
And how did these particles getting further apart all of a sudden have enough gravity to get together to make planets?
How did a particle all of a sudden get gravity? They always had that. That's like, okay, I'm about to debunk gravity. Ready? It went up and then it came down. How did this thing get gravity at the top to come back down? Explain that, Kent. Your God can't explain that. What a moron.
Why does the bang get to violate the laws of thermodynamics?
It doesn't.
First, second, and third law. How did the particles change directions and get
Gravity.
together to make stars and planets and all begin spinning?
Gravity.
We'll get into that later, the spinning of the planets. Why do two spin backwards if it all came from a bang?
What could that possibly... I'm interested to hear that. What could that... So Venus and Uranus spin backwards. We don't know why they spin backwards, but a Big Bang wouldn't just... I've heard something like this before. If it was a Big Bang, then why do things spin in different directions? I don't know what their argument actually is because I've never heard anyone try to complete the thought. But no, we don't know. This is incredible. Somebody said this yesterday, and it was brilliant. I can't believe I've never thought about this. I had a guest come up during a debate. Somebody came up and said, I think we were talking about consciousness. They said, you don't know where consciousness came from. And then they go on to say that we know it had to have come from, or like we don't know what consciousness is, or something like that. And then he said that we know it had to have come from a universal minded God. And the person said, how are you making truth claims when you're claiming that we don't know where this thing came from? And they phrased it a little better than that. But I was like, wait, yeah, that's exactly. So what Kent just did here is he said, we have no explanation for why Venus and Uranus spin in a different direction than other planets. Therefore, I know that God created them. Okay, how did God create planets that spin in other directions? Well, he just did. Okay, you have no explanation, Kent.
Let's see. What's the purpose of life? Big Bang doesn't explain that. Where
Maybe there isn't one.
do we go when we die? Big Bang doesn't explain that. If our brain is just a collection of chemicals that...
This is torture. Okay, I'm going to try to skip ahead to see if he ever deals with the dates. We're getting toward the end, though. Okay, never mind. I only made it like 10 seconds.
Matter cannot be created or destroyed.
Exactly. And the Big Bang does not say that anything was created. It just tells us what the universe does.
Law of thermodynamics. Thermal means heat.
And but also, your God violates this. So you need to... So there cannot be scientific evidence of your God. Kent actually, I think, is pretty good about admitting that. So
Dynamics means power. Every physicist knows about this law. Well, then how did the matter get here?
Violate it.
Big Bang ignores that.
Well, it doesn't violate it.
Law of thermodynamics is heat in the form of energy. That heat is a form of energy. Thermodynamic processes are therefore subject to the principle of conservation of an energy. Fundamental principles of thermodynamics. Let's see. Heat, energy cannot be created or destroyed.
Even though the Big Bang isn't an explosion, I mean, we can use an explosion. It's matter and energy, and then it explodes. Everything is still conserved, but a lot of interesting, different, new things happen. There's no violation going on there. Now let's do the most extreme example we can think of, like a supernova. I don't think Kent denies that supernovas happen, although he might, because he says that stellar evolution isn't a thing because we've never observed stellar evolution. Nobody's ever seen a star explode and then form other things and whatever else. So I don't really know. But a star goes supernova. All these other elements are created. Now the explosion happens, but eventually the particles gain gravity and then they're able to coalesce into new and different things. So we have one system changing, and then new things are produced from that, and no violations have occurred at all.
Energy is always conserved and cannot be created or destroyed.
Yeah, something he might say in a little bit here is going back to my example. Well, chaos cannot create order or something like that. No, like it absolutely can. So, for example, when a bunch of gases in space form a star, what you find out is like, wait, well, the star is a more ordered, it's more highly ordered than just a random blob of hydrogen out in the universe, right? And you could say the same thing like for a planet or whatever. But I can't remember all of this. I did put it in my book, and I had a couple of actual physicists read it and check it to make sure it makes sense. But like for the star, it loses heat energy, and the entropy created from that is much greater than the reduction in entropy by having that star collapse into a nice spherical ordered form. And it's the same story with life. Is life more organized than nature itself, just like the random environment around you? Yeah, I guess so. But that's only possible because life is extremely inefficient. 90% of the energy we consume is lost as heat. So there's some order, but then there's also a lot of disorder that goes along with it. Those other things, that's very hard to... It's not at all obvious. Like, you can't see heat, but this can actually be calculated. An ignoramus like Kent isn't going to bother. He's just going to go with his intuition, which is Human intuition is, scientists told us that it's pretty appalling, and some people's intuition is exceptionally appalling.
Well, then how did matter get here?
Doesn't matter.
Just Google it. This is the first law of thermodynamics.
Okay, sorry to do this again, but I'm going to try to skip to see if he ever deals with the age of the universe. I know he keeps saying I'm going to look for where he deals with the age, but he just keeps saying other blunders.
Yet the Bible says the heavens that God made are going to perish and wax old as a garment.
How is that the first law of thermodynamics? And thou, Lord, in the beginning hast laid the foundation for the earth and the heavens. So matter cannot be created or destroyed. The Bible says God made the heavens and the earth, and that's the first law. So a violation of the first law is the first, and they shall perish, and that's the second law of thermodynamics. That's a better example, but it's still awful.
Second law of thermodynamics. So, it's true. Nothing gets better left off. Take a look at your hairdo when you wake up in the morning. You'll see what I'm talking
What does better mean? That's completely subjective.
about. Everything tends to fall apart. See, here is Sue at 20. Here she is at 90. Here she is at 3,000.
That's actually pretty funny.
Everything falls apart.
So
Another way of stating the second law is the universe is constantly getting more disorderly. Did we run out of battery?
you could say kind of in a way that it's like things are losing heat energy. But that doesn't mean that things can't still happen. I mean, boil some water on your stove, turn the heat off, and put ramen in. That ramen will cook, even though the whole system is losing usable energy. There's a huge amount of energy in a pot of water that's been heated up. So there's a lot of work that can be done. And in a universe with fuel from stars and everything else, there's so much work that can be done even as that energy is dissipating. And I mean, we know this for a fact. The sun loses billions of kilograms of mass, I think, every single second. But that creates the energy in the form of light and heat, photons, whatever else, that comes to Earth that makes life possible. He knows that that's the case. So all of the, and there's no miracle, there's no God here. There is a sun doing this. Everything we know about that Earth, that life, Earth, sun system, whatever we want to call that, no miracle is required for any of that to work. You can say that the sun and the earth and life were miraculously created in the first place, but the way those things operate today, and even if we grant that they were created, the way it's always operated since then has been non-miraculously. So it is only science that describes how that works, and any idea about a God concept will tell you absolutely nothing.
Humans probably evolved from bacteria 4 billion years ago. Wait. That's adding energy and adding order. Sorry, it goes against the laws.
So, not surprising that he said that. No, things evolving does not violate the second law of thermodynamics, because life is always behaving very well with that because of, again, all of the losses of heat that occur as living things do what they do. Kent, if what you're saying is true, then a human being going from a fertilized egg to this grotesque pile of flesh we see over here, that would violate it too, because it's bigger and more ordered and it's gained energy. I mean, he's being fast and loose with the terms, not understanding them, and also not realizing that literally if we adopt his view, this makes all of this impossible too. I don't know what this red-green looking... It's like Red, Green, Mario, and Santa Claus at the same time. I don't know why he put that person up there. But these are basically all the scientific things that he's gone through to address the age of the Earth, and absolutely none of them do anything to tell us how long anything would take. He's just used this whole thing to argue that the Big Bang couldn't have happened. He dealt with absolutely nothing about the fact that we know the universe is expanding or anything like that, which would logically take you to a Big Bang model because that's where it came from. Here are his next points, and once again, not dealing with an age of anything at all. So yeah, that was he spent almost an hour not answering his own question. What is the scientific evidence behind the age of the Earth? He didn't even once attempt to answer that. He just said, according to my inability to think, the Big Bang doesn't make sense. I'm going to try to do one Kent Hovind video a week, maybe a little bit more. It may kind of be a little bit repetitive, but it's by far the most popular content that I've put out. I've only ever done 2 of them. Now this is the 3rd one. So be on the lookout for more of that, and we'll see what else happens in the future. See ya.